Hello everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. Hold on. Let me make adjustments to my camera. I'll be right back. I need to fix that. Yeah, give me a moment. All right, I think I got it. Sorry about that. Now we're gonna continue with our development of our Webpart. The last time we left off, I was opening a can of worms that I didn't think I was going to want or like to do. I was looking at another example of how we can render the FAQ Webpart. So let's go ahead and continue with that. So if we go into our Webpart, let me refresh the page so you can take a look at where we're at. So the last time we left off, I was working on the FAQ mode that allow us to see the questions in the image layout. So what we're going off of is this 33 FAQ page options, and one of the ones that I was working on the last time we met was something that's going to look similar to this. So you have an image, you have the question, and I don't think we're gonna add a button like this. I think what we would do is, if the user wants to see the answer to the question, we can have the, on hover, have it set up to where you hover on it, and the image is going to disappear or fade out and show the question. I think that would be a good design. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. So the Q&A is where you ask questions and answers, you add them, and we have the list layout, which allows you to see the questions answers in this manner. And then we have the image version, which allows you to see an image and then see the question. And when you hover, the image that's there won't be visible anymore. I did also want to make some adjustments to the good night.
Love you.
Love you too. It's my little niece. I also did want to make adjustments to the cards up here. I think that they're too large. They need to be adjusted. Let me inspect them. I was thinking that for the nav card, we might be able to get the height to maybe half. Let's make it 40 height, and then the icon, on the icon background, the nav card, then you have the icon background. It's 28 by 28. What was it originally? Let's look and do some math real quick. So we can inspect this card, and the card is 60 height. So if we do 30 on the height, and then the icon itself, let me refresh that. So these need to be a little bit smaller. So nav card, the nav bar. Then we have the nav card. I thought there was a height on here. Yeah, there is. 60. Need to change that to 30. And then the icon, this icon background, let's adjust this. What can we put on here? Icon background. These usually have like a root right here. A root size right here. Right now it's what? What did I say it was the height? Or the size of it rather. It's 38 by 38. Maybe we can make it 15 by 15. Root height 15, width 15. I mean, it certainly makes the icon a lot smaller, half its size. Let's go to the nav cards. So icon background. So we have nav cards, icon background. So height, we said, let's make it 40. And then the icon, instead of 28 pixels, let's make it 14. I think that looks a little bit better because it's not hogging up as much real estate at the top of the page. And then we have the ability to do this. Select the topics, add questions and answers, preview your FAQ. So you add your topics, adjust your questions, and then finally preview your Webpart. List layout, image layout. Yep. All right. So when we're looking at the question and answer, where you're gonna hold the image that you want to see is in the attachment. We had added this attachment control. I think that this question and answer location could be better. So let's go look at the form. So the form container, let me see how we can make this form look nicer. This right here, dialogue, modal, what does this change? Nothing. All right. I guess I'm trying to figure out how I resize the dialogue here. Let's go look at where our FAQ form is at. So this is our FAQ form. It's inside a question answer. Right here, dialogue. Is there a size for this? No. Probably these are deprecated. Min width, let's say 300. Is that adjusted? Let's find out. Questions. Min width. Didn't change anything. I think that we should have a style set up here. And we can have root. Let's see if this fixes anything. Go to topics. Q&A. Added the question. Oh, okay. Form container. Okay, so that's not gonna help. I think it said there was an option for content, if I'm not mistaken here. What are our options? We have main and root. We go to topics, add our topics, Q&A. Nope, that's not helping either. Let's check on what else we can do. Give me one moment. I'm trying to think of what we could potentially add. To fix our dialogue size. Modal. MS Modal has root with that's the dialogue has. I think we had said, what did we say? There's main and root on the dialogue. I see root. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything. Modal. Trap zone. There's root. There's main. Width. That's not changing anything. Then we have this main. Width. Why is width? Why is it crossed out? I wonder. Scrollable content. That's not doing anything. Content. No, let's go look at the documentation and see what I'm missing here. Go to controls, commands. No, it's under galleries. Where? Oh, surfaces. Sorry, we're using dialogue. Says width has a maximum. Maybe we should use a modal instead. Yeah, I think we should modal. You should use modal, not dialogue. Modal. Let's try modal, see what happens. So instead of dialogue, and model dialogue has is open. Because this one doesn't have. This one doesn't have. Let's put this in a brace. And then we're gonna basically add this in here. We check what current FAQ item is. Wait, what am I doing? Okay, current FAQ item, depending on what it is. If it exists, then we're returning this. Otherwise, we're returning this. And now we can do that. What is the options for closing? It has a close button because I see close button. Let's get rid of dialogue. Okay. Just go to topics. We add our topics, go to questions and answers. What is going on? What did I, so. Is open. We got our topics. go to our question. That looks a lot better. I like that a lot better. The only thing I would say is for the FAQ form in here, we can just put content container as a wrapper, and then move this up to just give it a little bit of nice spacing around it. That looks a lot better, and you can see how this is looking overall. So we have stack. This is why it's looking kind of odd. We don't need content container in here then. So the FAQ form has stack. The issue is that we have FAQ form with stack and stack item. Let's go to the FAQ form and let's move this outside of here. Like that, and then we're gonna put stack item on stack rather on here. Okay. Let's go to topics. Add our topics on question and answer. We add it in and we can see our question. The only thing is that we don't see where this edit FAQ item is indenting like the rest. Kind of annoying. This right here. So it looks like the form container is what's causing this class. What is form container? I wonder if we can get rid of this form container. And then, now that we've gotten rid of that form container, we can use container. Here. And now I think it should work. So go to topics, add our topics. That looks way better. That's what we want. Everything's nicely aligned. The only thing I would say is this submit button should be to the bottom right hand corner. That's not changing it. Why? Flex end, justify content, flex end. So on the button, oh, here it is, button container. Form. We got rid of form container, so we can get rid of that and get rid of that import as well. And the button container, align items, justify contact, click send, and that should make it look like we want. For topics, we got our 2 topics. We go to Q&A. And And let's go to see our questions. We can see our questions. Submit is at the bottom. We get rid of the 2. This is annoying because we fixed this bug before. If I go back to topics, I don't understand why. It's keeping. I have to figure out why that bug is sporadic showing up, because that would be an annoyance. Really an annoyance. And now we have the questions. Actually, it wasn't a bug because I think I clicked delete and maybe the bug was that it didn't delete from the UI. Accordion layout, list layout, FAQ, image layout. Okay. So we minimize the size of our cards up there. Let's go back to what we were working on the form. So on the form, when you click on edit, you can add an image. Let's go ahead and do that. So we need to create something on the API that we need to create something in the API that does attach the that adds the attachments, the image that we need. So in our FAQ form, have I saved the last time we met? No, there's a bunch of stuff I need to commit. Yeah, so here we need to update our API to receive an array of files, or it could be undefined. So for our question API, where is our question API? So let's go to assets, and we should have, here's our API, FAQ API. So on create an item, we can receive the new item that we're getting, and we can also receive a new property called, how do we want to handle this? Let's just try it. So here we're gonna add file, and this is gonna be of type file. Okay, or it could be undefined. This is gonna cause some errors. So the items on use add items is gonna cause an error. Yep, I knew it. I knew that was gonna cause an issue. I mean, we'll just have to add it. And it's with a lowercase f. All right. Add FAQ mutation. Add FAQ. Oh, this one right here. File. Okay, that should fix it. And now we need to update it to add the attachment if the file is there. Okay, so let's do that. If file, then what we'll do is we're gonna be get the added files. We add the file by awaiting the list, getting the FAQ list, getting the item by ID, which is the item that we just added, and then we add the attachment files. The reason I'm getting an error is because the PNP config is not set up to receive files. So let's update that. So in our PNP config, we need to update it to be able to have files be used. And let's go to the documentation for that. So list item attachments in PJS. So for adding an attachment, we have to make sure attachments is added. So let's go and add it to our PNP config. Yep. See how the error went away? Perfect. So now that the file has been added, we don't actually have to store this anywhere. We just add the file. I'm wondering if we should put this in a try catch of its own. Because what if it errors out when we're trying to attach a file? That's the question. I wonder what would break if this is going to give us an error, because this requires that. So we need to just update in the FAQ form. Go to our FAQ form and change this to that. Oops, to that. That fixes that error. And then down here, we pass files. We need to change it. It needs to be just a file. Files. On the attachments, go to the attachment control. And this needs to be file. File. And this needs to just be file as well. Set files just need to be because we have it set to one file, so files is a file list. No, wait. What is this? What is this returned? File list. Target dot files dot. Yeah, that's an array. Set set files. Set file. Yep, that's perfect. Because we only have one. And then this would be just file. And then this would just be files. And file would be from up here. Set file. Save all. So when we create an item where we have an attachment, we're adding a file, which is like an image. So if I go to topics, I add general development. I look at my questions. Do I have anything in pictures here? No. Let's go look at it. Let's go get an image. Can we just download this? Let's put this in pictures. All right. So now if we go here, add an image. Oh, but this is on edit. You need to do the same thing for edit. FAQ API. Update FAQ item is gonna also receive file, which is subtype file. And we're going to add it. And then if it's added, then we just get the here's where a little bit you have to change it because it's going to be updated twice. It's going to be updated here once, and then it's going to be updated here as well. Update e tag by 1 if no files was added. Add 2 if a file was added. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's bring everything back. There we go. This. So const number of updates equals file. It would be 2, otherwise it'd be 1. And then right here, we just put number of update. Okay. So now, obviously, we have a problem with our use update edit items on the FAQ item. We're gonna have errors here because we're gonna have to receive file, and it'll be file or undefined, comma, and then here we would have file. Update FAQ. This is going to be undefined. Okay. And we also have to put that up here. Yep. Okay. So here we're gonna add file, and I think that should do it. I don't think we should. Have any problems. All right, so if we go to topics, we add our topics, we go to our questions, expand our questions, edit. We're gonna add an image. We can add this image. Oh, we need to make it to where submit is enabled if let's go to definition. How can we make it enabled if the attachment control has a attachment? That's the number one question. Because obviously, even if we obviously have an attachment, we could have technically an attachment, and then they come in and add one, then we're still at 1. And then obviously that becomes a problem because how can I change maybe in the attachment control? Let's ask, what would be a good way to track when an attachment is added, updated, or removed for the submit button to become enabled, since the is dirty is not going to work because the attachment control is not part of the hook form. Because the only way I think of it is have a state that tracks when you click on the attachment control. When you click on the attachment control, then it updates the state, and then you can check if it's dirty or that state has changed. So what AI is recommended, managed outside the React platform, you need to track a state separately. Track attachment changes. Attachment changed. Implement this change, but do not use is form dirty as an additional variable. We can simply update the submit button to handle both instead of consolidating them. So what this is going to do is on our submit form, on this submit button, right now we have a scenario where we check if the form has been changed or if it's submitting. But technically we can check if it has an attachment change or not, or if it's dirty, or if it's submitting, and it'd be disabled accordingly. So there's really no need to have it track that for us. There's no need for that. So let's see. It says it did it, but I don't see it. Attachment changed. Where did you add attachment change that? All right, let's see if it works. What is it saying? Run item. What are you doing? This is what annoys me about this stuff. Current FAQ item attachment URL. Track initial file state when editing existing FAQ item. We shouldn't have that. So the initial file needs to be the file that we retrieve. So we need to come in here. We're gonna have to add a way for the attachment control to know. For now, we can just set it to undefined to get rid of the error, but we need to have a way of tracking when that attachment control has that. So let's get rid of this conditional, and we're just gonna set it to undefined. Okay, so now if we go back to our form, we add our topics, we go to our questions, we edit the question, we add an attachment. This should trigger the submit button is now available to us. So we click on submit. If we go back to why do we use it, if we go duplicate this, go to site contents, look at the back end, our table. If I go to our FAQ list, why do we use it? Let's see if it has an attachment or not. Here's our attachment. Why do we use it? Does not have an attachment. There's no attachments, so that means it's failing. Um, why is it failing? Let's see. It's not even adding it. So if we go back, attachments, why do we use it? Doesn't have anything. General, why do we use it? There's no attachment. Let's try it again. We open it and then we have our submit buttons available to us. So let's troubleshoot this. We inspect our page, we go to sources, and we're gonna look at our update FAQ because it should be receiving the file. We also need to look at our form. So that was inside of our question answer file. So inside of our question answer, we have our submit. So let's go there and see what happens. When we click submit, we can forward and let's see if file is there. Yes, file is there. So we get the list item. Let's stop it right here. It's failing. It's failing because we don't have, that's terrible. So if we go to our FAQ API, inside of our edit FAQ, we're not tracking the current item. So updated FAQ, await. So we're updating the item here, but we're not keeping track of updated item. Oh, we are. There's updated item ID technically. So why is it failing? Is file not there by the time it gets to there? Let's add it again. Okay, we can stop this part. Let's go to the API. File is not undefined. So let's stop here. It never even hits file. It never even hits the part where it checks if the file is there or not. Like it doesn't even get to it. It runs the update. Let's add an extra question mark. See if it does the update. Okay, continue. It doesn't do the update. Let's go look at our API. So we receive a file, and then let's go look at the hook for the update. I'm working in SharePoint, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I'm working in SharePoint and I'm building a Webpart. Webpart is basically these little pieces that you can use to put on a page. So it's basically React development. We're using React and TypeScript and SharePoint framework. So that's essentially what we're building. We're building a web part that allows the user to come in and select from all these different various design options. So when they come in here, they can select the topics that they want to show on their FAQ. So they select their topics, they can add, edit, update, remove questions, as well as topics. And then in the preview section, prior to saving the configuration, they can select in the preview what they want it to look like. They can either select tab layout, accordion layout, list layout, or image layout. And then when they select the layout and they save it, when the page refreshes and everything's been configured, the way that they see it in the preview is the way that they're going to see it on the page. So that's what we're building right now. And ideally what we want is, right now we only have 4, but I want to make several different options so that they could select from several different points, like several different layouts, for them to be able to see the FAQ in that manner. But the bug that I have right now is I'm creating the image view, essentially this right here, which allows them to see the question. So the question is going to be right here, and then there's going to be an image. And so that image, when they hover over the card, it's gonna fade the image out, and then they'll be able to see the answer. And right now, this is what I have. So right now, I'm working on the attachment. If they can add the attachment, then they'll be able to see the image in this block. So that's the concept. But right now, my problem is that my attachment's not letting me. It's not allowing it to be added. It looks like it's crashing right around this area. I think I know why. I think the reason that it's crashing is because in my I'm using SWR for my hooks, and for the edit item, I think the issue is that my item and my options are not matching. So in my options, I need to make sure that I also add this as an option. And then here, we also need to add it. I'm pretty sure this is the issue. So SWR is the data fetching service. So we have our application layer with the user sees on the page. Then we have our API layer, which is our communication between the back end and the front end, which is what the user sees. And then we have our middleware, which is like our fetching service. And that's what SWR does. So SWR serves two purposes. SWR serves the purpose of saving and caching our state, but it also serves the purpose of optimistic updates, and also serves the purpose of giving us the parameters that we need for, like, for instance, while the data is fetching, we can put React in suspense and tell it, do not load this component at all until I have the data from the server. And then if I have the data from the server, go ahead and update it. So that's what SWR does. So when we look at our SWR hook for use FAQ items, you notice that it returns our array of items. It returns whether it's loading or not. It returns a mutator, which allows us to change our data. And it returns an error if there was an error whenever our data was being fetched. And so this is the official hook. So we created a reusable service that returns our data to us. And all we have to pass to it is a string key. Basically what the string key services is, if that key is modified anytime that the program runs, it'll refetch the information. It'll go and pull the information again from SharePoint. And then it uses our fetcher function to retrieve our information. Also, these parameters are important. So if suspense is set to true, that'll work hand in hand with React. And so if React, for instance, if we look at our layout, we can use React suspense and say, okay, render a loader while the data is being fetched. And so if I open this, right, it runs pretty fast. So, but if I go to network and I throttle it, when I go to Q&A, you'll see this loading. So what that's doing is SWR is telling React, wait a minute, hold it, don't load the component because I'm still loading it. I haven't used Vue yet, but I'm actually interested in doing that. I'm thinking maybe on the weekends. During the week, I tend to do mostly React, but I like to learn new things. So one of the things that I've been working on is Supabase. As a backend, I've been working on full stack development. So on the weekend, sometimes I'll do full stack development using Supabase and using React Query Start. So there's the React Query, which is built on top of let me see, it's 10 tech start, which is on top. This is built on top of what is that? It's built on top of gosh, what is that called? Vite, that's what it is. It's built on top of Vite. And so this allows you to build a React application, but I've never used Vue, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I wouldn't mind learning. I wouldn't mind learning it. I like the reason I like Vue, and unfortunately I can't do for SharePoint development, is that when you save things in SharePoint development, it does the old kind of like it does the old what was the old way of creating create React app back in the day. Unfortunately, what happens is, for instance, if I make a change here in my UI, let's say I make a change to some text here. When I save it, and this is what I really dislike about this, because this reminds me a lot of create React app. It literally refreshes and kicks me out, clears my cache. It's an annoyance. So then I have to come back, select my topics, then I can go back to my Q&A and see my preview, which again, it's annoying. It's really annoying. But Vue doesn't do that. Yeah, the old hot reload. Yeah, that's a pain. But that's what I like about Vue. But maybe on if I have time this weekend, actually I'm gonna take you up on the Vue JS and see how maybe I'll like that better. In my current role, I don't use it that much, but I had worked as a full stack developer about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's where I really became really proficient in React. But now that I want to kind of move away from SharePoint some and probably consider doing more full stack developer again, I think that might be a good thing to have in my tool belt, Vue. So I definitely think maybe this weekend I'll set something up and start basically learning, stream learning Vue. I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah, definitely give that a shot. I think this should fix my issue. Let's go back to my questions and see if this will fix it. So if I add an image, and let's go see if my backend reflects it. Nope, there's still no attachments. Yeah, I think that there's something wrong with my API. So, let's go to my questions, edit, add the attachment, and click submit. It doesn't hit this for some reason. It never hits the if file. And that's where I'm having a little bit of a problem. So here's our FAQ API, if file. I wonder if maybe it needs to check if file has a length. No. I'm at a loss. I don't know what could be the issue. I've had something similar like this happen before, but that was because it was on the dispose for a legacy setup. A legacy component didn't discard. It didn't basically unload the component. That was causing issues, but this is something completely different. Add an image. The crazy thing is that it's not even updating it at all. Let me try something else. So if I refresh it, go to my topics, Q&A, go to my question, edit it. And here's my image. And I'm gonna add some text there to make it obviously be different. If I click on submit, question does have the additional question marks. So it goes all the way to the update function, but it crashes there. And it doesn't, no, it did change. Okay. So that's some clarification, at least, that the initial API is working. It's this part that it doesn't even hit the file check, which is kind of odd, honestly. It doesn't even hit the hit that conditional at all. That's kind of weird, because file is definitely there. I know it has to do something with the hook. I know for sure it has to do something with the hook that edits the items. So we added file here. Let me go look at optimistic update. I think it's the optimistic update that's causing the issue. Because let me look at my notes on hooks real quick. So use update items. Unuse update items. Interesting. Okay, so we have files. Huh, okay. Yeah, so the issue is definitely that I need to update this. I need to change this. Let me change this back. I see the issue now. So the issue is that I need to make file part of FAQ item. So let's go to our app prop. So inside of our app props, the FAQ item has to have file. And this is going to be file or undefined. Yep. All right. So now in our FAQs, let's change this to not need this for the create. And then here we would just check new item dot file. New item dot file. And let's put this here as well. And we're going to do the same thing for update. Update item dot file, and then these as well. Update item update item dot file. Okay, and then in our edit items, we don't need this anymore. And then on our question answer, we don't need this. And we don't need that. We don't need this. And for the add one as well, let's look at the hook. Use add items for the FAQ items. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. And FAQ items, new item, FAQ item, new item is FAQ items. Why is this? Oh, because It's missing the file. Like that. So now in our FAQ items, the edit and add items is updated. The question answer has been updated. Where we need to fix it is on the form. So on the form, the FAQ form, we need to add files. So data dot, where is it? Data dot, why is data not here? Oh, I know why. The reason why is because the infer type is not updated. Let's go update that definition. So here we need to add file, and then here we need to add undefined, and add that there. What is going on here? File. Is there a file option here? Yep. I think that for attachments on Yup, how to handle attachments. So attachments. So Yup is our validation library. So how to handle attachments in Yup validation. Mixed allows no attachment to be selected and required. So we're gonna call it mixed and just say it's nullable. So we're gonna bring in mixed. Let's bring in mixed. And then file is going to be mixed. Does that work? No. Let's make it mixed nullable. Okay. So now in FAQ form. Oh, this is where it's gonna mess it up. Resolver saying we don't have an attachment. Is there a way we can handle attachment with React hook form? Handle attachment with React hook form. If not, what I'll have to do is, let's go to form. Just to claim. How did I handle attachments before? Ah, that's how you handle attachments. Okay. I had to look at my notes on attachments, though. That the reason I'm getting that error is because, well, technically I can handle it that way. Trying to see, handle. How are we handling attachments? Trying to see how we could. I'm gonna look at an old solution of mine that I had worked on before, and on the submit, Okay. I think that the way I'm gonna handle that is on our form for the attachment. There is a way that we can handle attachments inside of React Hook form. There should be a set function, a setter. So in our resolver, instead of using mixed, we can use an object. So here we would use object, and then we would use the object would have a shape, and the shape would be files or file, which is within itself, which in itself would be a shape, and the shape would be would have the properties file name, which is a string. And if it does have a file, obviously that's going to be required. File name is required. Required. Oh, that might be helpful if I put a period, not a comma. It's gonna have a server relative path, because we're gonna have to, let's see, string required, and then finally it's going to have a server relative URL. Okay, so it's gonna have file name, server relative path, server relative URL. I think I have one too many. So here, shape, object. The file's gonna have an object shape. Oh wait, no, it's gonna be, yeah. Okay. Let me get rid of this. And this is gonna be optional. Nullable. Wait. This GitHub Copilot is messing me up. I'm gonna turn it off. Let me start over what I was doing. So snooze. Okay, let's try this again. Attachment, and this is gonna be, no, it's not gonna be an array. It's gonna be an object. No. Let me get rid of this. Let's go back to our form. Where is our set? So I'm just curious if we put this as in our form. Where is our form hook? Oh, This is a problem. Maybe we should just leave it as an array. I guess technically it is an array, but only use the first one of the images. Because the issue that I'm having is definitely having to do with the SWR hook. The SWR hook is not happy that our function is correctly making the update, but it is not satisfying what the SWR hook needs, and that's why it's failing. And to fix that, if file changes, I wonder if I can bring this up above this hook and then use form that value, and here set value file, and we can, the value would have to be file. Why is it still not working? Let's see what we can find out. Can you help me with the React hook form? How can I potentially take the attachment control and append in an attachment to the React hook form? Right now, showing an error in the resolver. Can you please help me find the issue? Ask any. I'm pretty sure that the issue is because technically file can be undefined, but I think the only thing that we would have to find out is this validation. This is not working. I guarantee that this is the issue. What error are you seeing? The error I'm seeing is and that's on FAQ form line 52. It's not required. Is it required? Okay. Still not getting rid of the error though. I may just have to use the type on the form But now we have another error. Oh, this is a simple error. Submit form data. Okay, so submit form FAQ needs to be updated. Submit form FAQ is under what? The parent to this was question answer right here. Submit FAQ form. It just needs the FAQ item. Why is it complaining then? Submit FAQ. Oh, because of this. We don't need this anymore. Data. File no is not assignable. The problem that I have is that how can I fix it to where file null? Because I can't use null. That's the problem. TypeScript's gonna yell at me, or the linter's gonna yell at me if I use null. Or is it? I guess not. Oh, I guess it's not. Cool. Then I can just do that. Data. So FAQ item, let's go fix that. Go to definition. Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Null is deprecated except when legacy API is used undefined instead. I mean, that fixes my issues, but now I have a lint issue. I can add a line to ignore it for now to see if it even works. There's a quick fix. Disable for this line. Disable. Validation. We have an error here. Okay. Now we go to topics. Q&A. Edit. Let's take off some of these question marks. Add the attachment. It's not submitting at all because the error is it's a silent error. The FAQ form has an error. The way I can tell that is if I look at my component and I look at the FAQ form under state of my form, I'm gonna have errors. So control okay, well, let's just go to sources and go to the form. FAQ it's called form, FAQ form. So FAQ form is going to have errors. Let's look at what's under the errors in the function. There it is. Errors. File must be defined. There is a file there, so why did it not set the file? I figured that this was gonna be one of my nightmares that I was gonna see. Okay, let's see. File is null. it's nullable. And here on the error is using the inferred type. I wonder if I can just use, instead of inferred type, oh no, let's I wonder if I can just use FAQ item. Will they yell at me? Because that's a lot of the issues that are coming from. FAQ item. Any other? So inferred type is definitely still here. Let's get rid of it so the issue can stand out. FAQ item. All right. Refresh. Go to topics. We had our topics. Go to our question. Add our image. And it's still silently failing. The error is that file must be defined. Ref undefined. Set file. And then file changes. Set attachment changed. But there's no setter for file. I thought it had said that it was gonna add set value. And then when the file changes, we can do set value. And we're gonna set up the file to be file or null. That should work. I thought AI said it had done that. I guess it didn't. All right, so we go to our topics. We add our topics. Go to our questions and answers. Edit our question. Add our image. Okay, good. Let's see if it went to the back end. It did, but it went to this one. Why? Why did it go to that one? Is that what I selected? What is the best way to develop in the web? Oh yeah, actually I did. Okay, so the good news is the file is there. I still have to fix it to render the file so that way the user can know that it's there and it needs to be updated. But nonetheless, half the battle's done. We have attached our file. Now we can actually leverage this file inside of our actual image. So when we go to preview, what is the best way to develop things in the web? We should see that image right here. So the next step is to be able to actually render the image in that space and then have it set up to when we hover on that image, the question appears. I mean, the answer appears. So that's the next thing. So inside of our FAQ image card, we need to be able to get our item. But the problem is right now, we don't have it. If we look at our object, if we go back to Q&A, what is the best way to develop things in the web? If we go to our components, so here is our data. By the way, this is very good to have. This is called a Chrome. This is the Chrome extension, React tool, developer tools. Make sure that you add this to your Chrome. And what this allows us to do is allows us to see the React componentry, and it also allows us to see what the current state values and stuff is set. And what I'm looking for right now is when I click on this edit button, If I go to my components and I go to my form, here is my form. Where is it? This one right here. We don't have file in here because we're not retrieving that piece of information from SharePoint at all yet. So I need to retrieve that. But that'll be something that's gonna have to wait for tomorrow. So the good thing is that we're halfway there. We actually have our attachment. The next objective is to be able to retrieve that attachment and be able to render that in our preview. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it for me tonight. I'd like to thank you for coding with me. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.